Tuku-Toon, Tuku-Toon.
Ha! We'll have a party and it will be spooky. Put on your costume, be it scary or kooky. Some wear fake teeth and some wear cool masks. Follow the steps of the tricky dance. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. We'll have a party and it will be spooky. Put on your costume, be it scary or kooky. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. Some wear fake teeth and some wear cool masks. Follow the steps of the tricky dance. This little dance is the vampire flip. Ooh. Those who don't dance it shall fall asleep. This right here is the skeleton dance. Move or you'll freeze in a funny stance. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. We'll have a party and it will be spooky. Put on your costume, be it scary or kooky. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. Some wear fake teeth and some wear cool masks. Follow the steps of the tricky dance. This silly dance is the spider trot. Whoop. Those who don't dance will do a one-legged hop. Whoop. This scary dance is the werewolf pop. If you don't dance, you'll spin like a top. This fancy dance is the owl swing. Dance or you'll laugh like a creepy witch. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. We'll have a party and it will be spooky. Put on your costume, be it scary or kooky. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, ya trick or treat. Some wear fake teeth and some wear cool masks. Follow the steps of the tricky dance. This funny dance is called the wiggly ghost. If you don't dance, you'll jump like a frog. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And this cute dance is a pumpkin funk. Oh yeah, come on. If you don't dance, then it's time to go home. Tricky, ya bye, bye, bye. Tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, adios. Now that you learned the tricky dance, move, jump, and spin before it ends. Tricky, ya tricky, 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 ya tricky, ya tricky, ya tricky, tricky, trick or treat. This was a treat, but we have a chance to do once again the tricky dance. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe to see more videos, games, and songs. Dancing with you is Tuku